Hey everyone, welcome to Ready Row USA. We're coming to you live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania today with the US Rowing Convention. And my name is Tara Morgan and I'm with CUR Foundation. And we're each just going to say who we are. And we've got a special panel here today to kick off our coverage of the US Rowing Convention, where we are actually a media partner with the convention. So let's just say who we are and what our affiliation are. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our overview of the convention today and talking to Neil Bergenroth, who's with Grow Rowing in Oklahoma. Ryan.
And I'm Ryan Worth from Chattanooga, UTC Rowing and Swift Racing.
Nice. And I'm Brenda Ballinger. I coach with Manchester Rowing Alliance as well as Lake Sunapee Rowing Club, and I get to row for Maureen Earle in Masters Coaching.
Nice. So what state is that in?
New Hampshire.
Sweet. So Ryan's in Tennessee, you're in New Hampshire. I'm all the way out at Vashon Island Rowing Club in Seattle, where CUR Foundation is based. And we're all here for really different reasons, which is really cool. We're each representing a different interest in the convention, and we're coming at it from different perspectives, from the master's perspective, the coach perspective, the collegiate coach perspective, the adaptive perspective. Like, we've got a lot of things to cover. So today we just want to talk with our panelists here about what we're going to go check out this weekend. And then we're hoping that you are either here in Philly and would like to come and chat with us about your experience and what you're getting out of the conference. Or if you're not able to be here and you want us to do get some intel for you or find out some questions or meet somebody for you. If you're here at the conference, also stop by and see our booth. We are doing a business card drawing every day, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. And do our first drawing for the weekend. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So Ryan.
Well, I'm also here as a referee.
Right, referee.
Yeah, so a lot of hats. And I think the unique thing being offered this year that I'm jumping on is the weightlifting track on Sunday.
Oh yeah, powerlifting, yeah.
Yeah, so US Weightlifting has partnered with US Rowing to teach and I really haven't looked into it too much, but it's the basic lifts of rowing. I don't even know what lifts they're calling or the basic lifts for rowers.
Sure,
I have my guesses. Deadlift, squat, bench press, bicep curl. No, I'm kidding. But
maybe bench pull. No, I think powerlifting is more clean, jerk, snatch, that sort of genre.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. It's going to be all day on Sunday over at Temple.
Temple Boathouse.
Field house. I'm thinking their field house.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Is that mostly with juniors?
I think it's kind of juniors oriented. I know like Carlos and some of the other instructors are kind of, it's about how to teach these lifts properly to younger rowers. And Tara and I discussed this a little bit earlier, but like also coaching masters in lifting. Those are, I think, the two demographics where you find the most athletes who have never had experience before.
Sure.
Who might be interested in adding lifting to their training.
Sure.
And I also really like seeing governing bodies that are kind of working together in some of this.
It's nice to see that partnership with US Weightlifting and US Rowing. It's almost like when we all went through the whole safe sport, anti-harassment, anti-bullying, safe environment where we partnered with the Olympic Committee for that. It's nice to see these entities, because as we go through all these experiences working with athletes, whether they're 13 years old or they're 80 years old, like there's a lot we could learn. So you're representing collegiate and juniors.
And masters.
And a little bit of masters too, right?
Yeah, so coaching a little bit of everybody. And then also some of the referee stuff. This is there's not a lot of opportunities for referees to get together and do much development.
Nice.
So some of the sessions are based on skills development.
That's great.
Red flag, white flag is one of the topics for the referees.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing if blank, blank, blank?
Well, I know I'd be interested, and I can get to this a little bit later, about being in the adaptive world and the para-rowing world with our great relationship with US Rowing's referees. Like, we have an amazing relationship with regatta directors and referees, and we're always hot to find out any changes that are coming up, any big rule changes. So I don't know if that's going to happen this weekend. Or if there are any. So we'll hope you guys give us some intel.
There's always stuff getting discussed. Yeah. And it's open. You can find the minutes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
cool.
It's not like front page on the website.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Miss, what are you going to this weekend?
Well, I'm here for the Masters track, but I'm also a little bit in the junior corner, as well as I love the long-term athlete development with Chris Chase. I can't wait to see that because he's always very dynamic, and I take fast notes when I listen to Chris Chase speak. Reba Knickerbocker is here for the Masters Women and competitive spirit and how to tackle that. And so I'm looking forward to that. I've followed her online a lot. This will be my first time in listening to her speak, so that'll be exciting. And Kevin Sawyer with his periodization drills. He has the most interesting drills, if you can put those two words together in the same phrase, than any other coach that I've ever met. And I love hearing what he's been doing with his team.
That's great. Who is his
Virginia.
team? Virginia.
Yep.
Virginia
wow, that's
women.
a powerhouse team.
Virginia women. Yep.
Yeah, I row with some of their alums. That's a powerhouse team for sure. Anything else you're excited about? Have you been to this conference before?
Oh yes. Yep. I usually go every other year between Joy of Sculling and the USRowing convention. So glad to be here with the podcast this year.
Great. Speaking of Joy of Sculling, that's actually up at Saratoga Springs, December 13th, coming up a week from tomorrow. So sometimes coaches and rowing programs have to choose. And, we're not here because we like one over the other. We won't be at Joy of Sculling, but I think that Joy of Sculling came to Seattle a couple of years ago and was a dynamic program. There was so much to learn. I came away with some very interesting scientific knowledge from that event. I was really excited about how different it was. But for those coaches and programs out there that can't send their coaches from West Coast to East Coast or East Coast to West Coast, whatever the combination might be, that's why we're here and why we wanted to be a media partner, so that we could bring all of that and the essence of the conference. We're not going to be regurgitating conference. We're going to just be finding some gems. So that's kind of our MO this weekend. Well, I am definitely going to hit the women in rowing track tomorrow, which is going to be over at the Vesper Boathouse with Anita DeFrantz from US Olympic Committee. There's a panel with the 76 women's team that she was on, which is super exciting. And then also, as a para coach, we do a lot of indoor training in the wintertime. So we're really interested in hearing more where we can bring in opportunities across the age spectrum with the indoor rowing folks from Pocock Foundation. I'm always interested in referee stuff because we're trying to break some molds and think outside the box when it comes to racing and para. And so the referees are instrumental in that, and making friends with the referees and making them cookies and coming to their seminars is part of it. Right? I also run my own organization. So going to the board stuff, the business of rowing track is
huge.
There's one about how to get the best board members.
And
most
important seat race.
What you should look for. I'm looking forward to that one.
And we're really excited to talk to Steve O'Connor from Fulham Reach Boat Club in the UK and to hear about his really unique youth outreach that's happening over there. Really successful, unique. Also, next year for Seize the Oar Foundation in particular, I don't know if this is true for you guys, but we're looking to invest in our coaches a little bit more, like give them some more professional development. So, they can't always attend conferences like this. So this content is great. But also there's a seminar about investing in your coaches. So I'm excited to do that tomorrow.
That's with Eric from Saratoga.
Yeah. And if you're looking for the rock and party aspect of Ready Row USA, we will be live from Rock the Row tomorrow, Friday night. And here's the thing. If you are out and about at the conference or at the party and you see one of these buttons, ding, 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 just hit us up. We're going to have camera gear with us. If you've got something you want to ask about or talk about, just hit us up and say, hey, can we have a quick interview? We'll talk to you for a couple minutes. And we actually have a very special question we're asking people all weekend long. We won't reveal what that is quite yet, but everybody's going to get asked the same question and we'll get some pretty fun answers, I think, to our question. So now we're going to actually move on to a guest that couldn't make it to the conference. And Neil Bergenroth is from Oklahoma. Hi, Neil. How are you doing?
How are you?
And
we're doing well, Neil.
Oh, good. Ryan's got the earpiece.
The only one with an ear on Neil right now.
So Neil, talk about basically what you're doing. I know I follow you on Facebook, but it's a lot of science and it's a lot of rowing and it's a lot of apps and technology. So give us a little, what's your pitch deck? What's your pitch about what you're working on?
So I'm working with the Tulsa Youth Rowing Association, and we have a outreach program. You know, one of the things we thought about a couple of years back, and the advice we were getting was, what are you doing to serve the community? And, you know, our program, Grow Tulsa, was kind of a response to that. I have been I'm a school teacher, and I teach chemistry and have done so for about 20 years. And been involved in rowing for about 30. I picked up the oar when I was 13. And we started to build this outreach program because we wanted to make the sport more accessible to youth. Rowing tends to be something that is sometimes difficult to get into, and we wanted to make sure that, you know, we were serving the community as much as possible. And so we started to think about, well, what could we do? And there are various logistical challenges in Tulsa, such as access to water and things like that. And then so we decided, and I basically just went from there and started to marry passions as my career as a science teacher and as a rowing coach, and started to build a STEM curriculum around the concept too. And I started last year. I think the first day was October 1st last year, and I really wasn't sure if any of the kids were going to show up, and we had 2 show up, and then it kind of grew from there. And we finished kind of our pilot year, and now we're growing into 3 different schools. So we have 6 machines in 3 different public schools, and you know, we've partnered with community partners such as the Opportunity Project and Youth at Heart and 21st Century Learners and Tulsa Debate League. And so you know, I built this kind of Google folder of activities. So a general session is we get there, we warm up, you know, we do some drills because, you know, teaching them how to row is fundamental to everything. But then after that, there's some kind of science tie-in to something that they're doing. So as I'm sure you guys can appreciate, there's a ton of data that the PM monitor captures. And so I just saw an opportunity there.
On the concept too.
I'm sorry? Yeah, on the concept too.
On the concept too.
Yeah, and you know,
gotta plug the vendor.
On the concept too, who actually have been tremendously helpful in terms of technical support for this project. So I do want to say that because they've been, you know, wonderful in helping us through the technology. And a year ago, I didn't know anything about programming apps for the PM5, and kind of got a hold of the API, and I love to build apps and technology. That's another passion of mine. So I get to do 3 things in one job, which is teach and coach and do science activities as well as build apps. And we have this app called Rowing STEM, and it functions in a similar way to Data. Although it contains all of the different activities and labs and the curriculum that we've written so far. And I think we're up to about 12 or 15 different activities that range from ideas such as accuracy and precision, which I think is pretty important when it comes to rowing in terms of consistency and having kids learn that. There's various graphing activities. And there's a.
So Neil, does that help increase your numbers on the water, that there's more interest in the scientific part of it? Do they then want to come and join you?
Yeah, I mean, we had our first kid from this program, and she started to row in our summer camps. So, and now she's rowing in the recreational program. So, you know, I say to people, we're about 4 seconds into this initiative. You know, this is a long range 10-year plan, and these things take time, as you guys know, when you're building something from basically the ground up. But the plan is to migrate these kids to the water. And when we were talking with the Tulsa Public Schools athletic department, they were like, "We'll start in the middle schools, because then as the kids age, then they can come into on the water activities and other things like that. And then once you get on the water, there's a ton of different science activities you can do. You could put microbits on boats and
sure. So Neil, is some of Neil, is some of that open source so that other clubs can see what you're doing?
Yeah, I really, and the board agree, we really want to make this as transparent and effort as possible. So you can download the Rowing STEM app on the iOS App Store. It's available. It's not available in Europe at this point because I guess I need to talk to a lawyer about privacy issues. The app doesn't actually store any data on any other service other than the personal device. But it's just one of those things you just have to be careful with. But you can access it in the US and you can download it, and you're welcome to take it and use it. If anybody wants to get in contact with me in terms of getting the files that are editable, so you can make them your own, that's perfectly acceptable. In fact, I would love more people to use it and give me some feedback.
Ryan has a question, Neil.
Sure.
Yeah. A little button.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah. Good. Yeah, and Neil, your website is really good. Out a few days ago that lays it all out really well. Is there anything that from this conference here this year that you're looking forward to hearing about?
Well, obviously, I'm interested in the panel. Stephen O'Connor, I've been following him on LinkedIn. It's fascinating what they're doing and what they've built. I'm very grateful that you've given me the chance to come on and talk about it. I love me a conference. Professional development is great, and so what I would love to know more about is what's going on in terms of what other people are doing to help grow the reach of rowing and have a greater impact on the community and really how a rowing club's empowering the people in them towards careers in science or whatever it is people are interested in.
Absolutely. It's been great having you on the show, Neil. Thanks for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
From out in Oklahoma. For sure.
Yeah, so Neil, we'll be in touch about what we've learned from tonight's conference or this weekend's conference. And I know I'm going to have a personal conversation with Steve O'Connor, and I'm going to go to the indoor rowing special panel and
me too.
And you too. And I think we're all really interested in growing the sport. And I kind of love that your program is actually called G-Row. Like it just feels like you put it right out there that growing the sport is how we basically share our common knowledge that this sport is the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the best.
Yep.
It's transformational. We all know the benefits of it. And with us being here at this conference, you're the type of person that we would like to see speak at these conferences and say, here's what some unique ways of recruiting and doing research and creating games and creating interactive things, because these kids that we're trying to reach are often we're competing with all sorts of technology, and why not use technology to get them in there? And the PM5 is classy, but we can do better.
Sure.
It's kind of my dream.
You want to do a raffle?
So we're gonna do a giveaway. What
do we got tonight?
So tonight we are giving away, Ryan, if you'd like to be our Vanna.
All-American Rowing Camp hat, never worn.
All-American Rowing Camp.
Is that a head sweat?
This is a it's 100% polyester, but breathable. It's totally snappy, from All-American Rowing Club. That's our friend Mark Wilson, who is the head of, model that for us.
Keep your head cool and your drinks cooler.
And you got a beer koozie to go with it. So we're going to do a drawing. So here at the conference, if you're here, come drop your business card, because we've got some great prizes all weekend. Come on down. And our booth is in the main ballroom with all the other vendors. So look for us in the back corner. Here we go. Drum roll.
Get a really fat one, a glossy one.
A glossy one?
There we go.
Okay, who won?
We have Susan Poland.
Susan Poland.
EMC of Meeting and Events.
Oh, I saw Susan earlier.
Yeah.
Susan.
Congratulations.
Right, we're the only people in here right now. I'm looking around like there's anybody.
Right. It's a little quiet in the ballroom.
Oh, I just
tonight.
threw Susan back. Whatever.
Okay, so Susan from EMC Meetings and Events, I know your booth is right by the front door, so we'll see you tomorrow morning, but we'll drop off your prize. come visit us. Thank you so much to US Rowing for having us as a media partner. This was a great arrangement that we were lucky to get.
And thank you to our fabulous sponsors. We couldn't continue our podcast without them.
Yes.
Very much.
And I'm just going to do a little personal plug. I, in addition to Seize the Oar Foundation, thank you very much. This is one of our prizes, so bring your business card. I'm actually a total nerd for Masters Learn to Row. And I know that sounds really kind of strange, but
It's like what most coaches say they don't
I
want
love
to do, right? Yeah.
Masters Learn to Row. And it's
I dig it.
sometimes it's the bugaboo that people are really challenged by. Maybe your boathouse is feeling really challenged by Learn to Row and retention, recruiting, keeping them engaged. Tomorrow at 5:30 or 5:44 in the Horizon Ballroom here at the Philadelphia 201 Hotel, I'm going to be hosting a Learn to Row Geek Out meetup. And we're just going to talk shop. So come on by. There's no prizes.
Tips and tricks.
There's no prizes, but there's just community. This is a companion to the Learn to Row Facebook group that I run, where we just talk shop about
To run it.
how to run your Learn to Row and how to make a great Learn to Row. So come by. It's 4:45 Horizon Ballroom tomorrow here at the hotel. Any last thoughts?
No, just looking forward to a good weekend.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, all.
Yeah.
That